Welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime, and today we have Action Comics 262, published in March 1960 with story by Otto Binder and art by Jim Mooney, and this is Supergirl's greatest victory. Gasp! I'm too weak even to crawl away from this Kryptonite meteor, but Supergirl still has her super strength. How did she gain immunity? How did she? And it's pretty much the same thing. I'm too weak to even crawl away from the... Okay, so we start off with Linda Lee at Midvale Orphanage, just kind of doing a few super feats. Apparently, a crack opened up at night, and these girls are going to roller skate right over it, but she fixes it. So the head of the orphanage says, "Everything always goes so smoothly for the children, Miss Hart. No disappointments, no bruises, no troubles. You'd almost think some good fairy watches over our orphanage." Indeed. So then, I'm sorry. She spots a piece of kryptonite landing at a park, and these forest rangers say, "We'll get rid of it later after we finish our fire patrol. That stuff is harmless to Earth people, but is dangerous to Superman. We'll send a warning to him." Okay, and Superman got the warning. So he'll deal with that later. Meanwhile, we get a whole recap of her origin story, and I'm not going to go through it because her origin was only a few issues earlier, but it's pretty much just the whole recap of it. Not sure the point, since it was less than a year ago that she was introduced. I think less than a year ago. We see her arriving on Earth, and then an explanation of how she got her powers, which we already know. And then sort of a mention of Kryptonite. So she goes to his Fortress of Solitude because she has an idea of how to conquer Kryptonite, and she wants to tell Superman. She says, listen, as everyone knows, Earth people can take several doses of polio vaccine and gain immunity to polio. Why can't we do the same with Kryptonite radiation?" Superman says, "I've tried that, didn't work." But she thinks, well, maybe because I'm younger, it will work with me. But he just starts showing her around the Fortress of Solitude. And a lot of things happen here that seem to just be unimportant to the plot, but they all are actually plot points. So first he shows her this flower, and he says that it looks like she's saying it, but it says, "Take a look with your X-ray vision, use full power because I made the thick box." And it's hard to kind of notice it, but her X-ray vision goes right through the flower and cracks this cage. Okay, all of this is important. We get a little more showing some of the creatures, and then we get these metal eaters. They love iron nails for lunch, but wait, there should be two of them, so there's only one. And she says, "Oh, goodness, my X-ray vision cracked the cage." And so one of them escaped, and Superman is able to use kryptonite to lure it back because apparently kryptonite is a delicacy for them. So now both are back in their cage. And then Supergirl fuses it shut. She says, "I wish I could make up for my blunder." So she decides that kryptonite from earlier, she's going to use that kryptonite to try and develop an immunity. So she takes it. She can't get close to it, but she takes the ground and creates a ramp and rolls it into this cave, and places a piece of stone right where the kryptonite starts to affect her. And then the next day, she manages to get a little bit closer. Ooh, a twinge of sharp pain. Gasp. But I got closer this time before feeling weakness starting. My idea is working, after all, in spite of Superman's doubts. And Superman's watching, and he's like, "Whoa, look at that." And so day after day, she manages to get closer and closer. Great Scott, Supergirl can approach that kryptonite meteor much closer than I could without collapsing. Was I wrong? Is she gaining an immunity? It does appear that way. And so even when she's quite close, she still has her super strength, super breath, her X-ray vision, and meanwhile, Superman goes and he says, "Why is Dora, the second metal eater, acting so sad? I'll try to cheer her up by feeding her gold. It's one of her favorite tidbits." So I guess they like gold and kryptonite. So Superman is out burrowing around for some buried fossils when he comes across a long cross tunnel that he didn't recall making. Now, he has super recall, so he should recall if he did. Um, but he thinks, well, maybe Supergirl did it. But he comes across a piece of kryptonite. Oh, I'm turning weak, gasp. So Supergirl, she's able to approach that hunk of kryptonite and just walk up and touch it now. Oh my goodness. She's looking for Superman. There he is, trapped beside another kryptonite meteor. But why worry? With my immunity to kryptonite, I can rescue him. So she burrows over and she says, I'll just grab that silly old meteor and wait, I'm turning weak. What's wrong? Now Superman already figured out what was going on. Um, Gasp! I'm losing my superpowers. But so he kind of explains to her. Well, at first they use their combined powers to melt some gold, and then uh, okay, he says in the atomic table of elements, gold is the number 79, which is close to lead, number 82. Their nuclear structure is similar. Keep it up. Gasp! It's our only hope. So their combined abilities are able to cover it. Thank heaven, my idea worked. Our combined X-ray vision acted as an atomic ray. The gold atoms were changed into lead atoms, which can stop the deadly kryptonite radiation. So now he explains what happened. Because Superman is also able to approach this kryptonite rock. It's because those two metal eaters had a baby, and the baby escaped and found that kryptonite rock and has been consuming it from inside, which means the rock is becoming weaker and weaker. Yes, he bored his way in. He ate up most of the kryptonite from the back where you couldn't see him. My first clue was when I found the cross tunnel I hadn't made. My X-ray vision revealed it went a long way, obviously following veins of. So we have this whole path from the Fortress of Solitude, where the baby metal eater crawled, into Supergirl's cave. The metal eater ate his way through underground ores, and when he stumbled upon the kryptonite delicacy, he nibbled away at it slowly day by day. The more he ate, the less radiation you felt. That's why you were able to get closer each day without danger. So he says, my other clue was Dora pining away for her young one. Dora was the metal eater I found when she was gone and lured her back. Because she was asking, well, I thought there were only two metal eaters. She had time to lay an egg that hatched later. Then the baby metal eater hungrily ate its way to the cave to her, dying on your kryptonite meteor. So she writes in her diary, Superman was right. My attempt to gain immunity from kryptonite only laid an egg. So this one was pretty good. Cause I've read all these stories, but I forget how they happen. And I was like, wow, is she really doing it? Is she gaining immunity? And although the solution is kind of convoluted, I thought it was pretty good. So I would say this is a pretty good story. Supergirl's greatest victory.